This is KSL Sunday Edition with Deanie Wimmer.
The economy sucks right now, and daycare is hard to find.
This week on Sunday Edition, Utah's child care crisis on full display when 3 child care centers suddenly closed.
That it rocked us.
Leaving dozens of parents stressed out and scrambling.
We need to come up with a solution.
We'll take you inside one new solution that's just opening its doors.
We're building an affordable housing complex. We want to put affordable childcare as the amenity.
And show you why this issue impacts you, even if you don't have children in daycare. Welcome to Sunday Edition. Today we're tackling a topic that impacts Utah's working families, the struggle to find and afford childcare. It's an issue that's impacting every county across our state. The 2 biggest hurdles are cost and availability. The Department of Health and Human Services says childcare shouldn't cost more than 7% of a person's income. But in Utah, it typically costs 17%. And in Grand County, for example, it's 45%. Those numbers come from a report compiled by Voices for Utah Children. They also found when it comes to availability, 77% of Utah's population lives in a child care desert. Many rural counties have no licensed child care available at all. So you can imagine the panic many parents felt when 3 daycares shut their doors with no warning.
So I was awake and I happened to see a message come through at around 11:30 p.m. saying that Monday was going to be the last day they were going to be open. They were closing their doors.
That was how Sarah Smith learned the Syracuse daycare for her baby and 2-year-old would close the next day. Same for Karen Tepeh's granddaughter, who attends Adventure Time in Provo.
So as we're preparing our granddaughter to go off to what she calls school, her daycare, we're finding out that that's it. That's the last day forever.
Both agree the way owners closed the centers and another one in Taylorsville with no notice left parents in a jam.
I know that we were shocked as parents, and it sounds like all of the employees at the center were blindsided. This is where we take our kids every day, and we get a message at midnight. Some people didn't get this message until they woke up to go to work and take their kids, and now we're all scrambling for daycare. So we were all shocked. The economy sucks right now, and daycare is hard to find. Good daycare is hard to find, and I think that's what hurts the most, is that this was like a community. It wasn't just daycare. Like my son has thrived there. He's thrived. I knew these employees, these workers, they became like family.
Those are the personal concerns. There are also financial concerns of trying to find new childcare.
We had only paid this month's tuition just a few days ago, so we paid the full amount, and was very disturbing to me that they would know they're in this kind of predicament and take our money that way, not give us any warning, and not at least, I don't know, if you're paying $1,000 or $2,000 a month per child, you can't just dig that up and at the spur of the moment, and especially not in less than 24 hours.
That's all our teachers. That's personnel at hospitals. That's state employees. It's actually a vast majority of our citizenry. The median wage in Utah, last time I looked at it, was like $78,000 for a family of 4, $80,000 in that ballpark. So if the cost of living is that much higher, if you have to access childcare, you have to make some serious economic decisions as a family, both in planning for a family, but also in how are we going to manage our children being in a safe, productive environment.
Mo Hickey of Voices for Utah Children says in Salt Lake County, people with 2 children in daycare would need to earn $115,000 to break even. An estimated $20,000 of their income would go to child care costs. Hickey adds the entire childcare industry is struggling. In a 2023 report, Voices projected that half of Utah's licensed providers would close in the near future.
Ultimately, it's a really tough business model, and we've advocated for a number of years now This is not a situation that's going to be solved by the private sector. There has to be some form of government intervention to stabilize this system.
Utah business records show all 3 centers are registered to Lance and Erica Stewart of Draper. According to emails sent to parents, the owners referenced post-COVID disruptions, rising costs, and declining enrollment.
We're seeing it really becoming more and more difficult for child care centers. We need to come up with a solution that's going to address all of our needs.
New research shows about 2/3 of the women in the state are in the workforce, but there's only enough licensed child care programs to serve about 1/3 of all children under the age of 6 whose parents are working. We want to state that this isn't just a mom issue or even a problem exclusively facing parents of young children. Mo Hickey, the executive director of Voices for Utah Children, joins us now again. And Mo, this is a financial issue for Utah.
It's definitely a financial issue. We released a report 2 years ago with the Gardner Institute, the Chamber, the U.S. Chamber. We're losing about $1.36 billion a year in productivity in Utah because of lack of access to childcare. That's people that are either choosing to work part-time where they could be working full-time, or people that are not entering the workforce, because when you start looking at balancing the cost of childcare versus the job you could take, some people are opting to leave the workforce. So it's an economic issue, but it's also a long-term systematic problem that we have to deal with.
You even likened it in your report to infrastructure, much like roads or housing. It's part of the public infrastructure.
Absolutely. And, you know, I've referenced this before. The good news is Utah has a good economy at the moment. But with that comes some issues that we have to deal with. So if you're in a executive function job or you're in a tech company, you might be doing well as far as your compensation. Our hourly employees, for example, are not keeping up with that. And so you start getting this wider disparity. So looking at where we're sitting right now in Salt Lake County, the median wage in Salt Lake County is about $72,000 for a family of 4. Problem is, it's over $100,000 in cost for a family of 4 to have childcare and break even. So you have that gap, and that's just the median wage.
Hard numbers to make it work. Is it going to stabilize anytime soon, or you suggested maybe it might actually get worse?
We're predicting it's going to get worse at very least in the short term. You know, the bill that was passed today at the federal level is actually going to compound the problems we're already facing, because a lot of families that are struggling are in the bottom 60% of earners, bottom 70% of earners. A lot of people in the higher levels can afford to have private childcare or make something work. But when you're talking about the average working class person, now you're compounding that with the potential of losing Medicaid benefits, SNAP cuts of 20%, which are huge. I did a little analysis of the bill, which kept changing, but there was only one positive reference to children in the whole bill that was just passed today.
All right, a lot of things, including that bill, that are in flux right now. We'll have to see how that plays out, but we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you for joining us and for your insights today. And up next, this is something that I'm excited about, a new solution to the daycare dilemma. We'll take you inside a first-of-its-kind apartment complex to help bridge the child care gap in Utah. Plus, cutting down on your child's screen time, some easy ways for parents to navigate the use this summer.